Right, good morning, class. Today is day 167. We are going to be reading the next part of Wonder. So, like I said, you can open up the video here if you want it to be bigger. I'll have the link there. And then here is where we will open up the chapter. So, today we are going to first make sure we have our name in here, Mrs. Falby. And our homeroom, I'm going to choose KU since that was my homeroom. And today we're talking about problem and solution. So a problem is what goes wrong in the story. Another word for problem is called a conflict. We've talked about this several times this year, so this shouldn't be new. So I'm going to go through the 4 types of conflicts again. Remember, every time I say conflict, it means the exact same thing as problem, okay? So, first one is character versus self. That means you're having a problem with yourself, maybe making a decision in your head, something like that. The next one is character versus character. That's when 2 or more characters are having a problem with each other. Character versus nature. That's when a character is having a problem with something either outside of nature. It could be a natural disaster like a tornado or a storm. It could also be a problem they're having with like an animal or being like lost, something like that. And then character versus society is a problem with like rules or laws. Solution is how the problem is fixed, but sometimes there's not a solution. Sometimes they don't fix a problem, and when that happens, we just call it an outcome. So today we're going to go through the steps to answering plot questions. First, we mark up the question, so we'll kind of mark it up in our heads or, highlighting it. Then we'll highlight the clues in the text so we know where to look. We'll think about what we know, and then we'll find evidence to support our answer. Really quickly, I'm going to pull something up. All right, so our first example today is identifying the conflict or the problem in yesterday's reading. So I would mark this up by underlining or circling conflict and then underlining or circling yesterday's reading. So we want to think back to yesterday's reading when we learned about Jack. And if you remember, Jack was in science class and he got partnered with Augie. Now that wasn't the problem. Let's look and see. So they're in science class. Here we go. And they find out who their partners are. And Julian is like, hey, you must be super bummed to be with August, because Jack Will finds out he's with August. And he's like, let's see if we can switch. And then we're going to pick up right here. No, she wouldn't, I said. That's Jack talking. Ask her. No, I don't want to. Miss Rubin, Julian said, turning around and raising his hand at the same time. Miss Rubin was erasing the chalkboard at the front of the room. She turned when she heard her name. No, Julian, I whisper-screamed. What is it, boys? She said impatiently. Could we switch partners if we wanted to? Said Julian, looking very innocent. Me and Jack had this science fair project idea we wanted to work on together. Well, I guess I could arrange that, she started to say. No, it's okay, Miss Rubin, I said quickly, heading out the door. Bye. Julian ran after me. Why'd you do that? He said, catching up to me at the stairs. We could have been partners. You don't want to be friends with that freak if you don't have to be friends with that freak if you don't want to be, And that's when I punched him, right in the mouth. So that shows us our conflict right there. So now we want to look through, so we highlighted that section in the story, and we want to look through and see what our answer is. Is it that August and Julian were fighting about their science project? No, August wasn't there, so it can't be A. Julian and Jack Will get into a fight because Julian called August a freak? Well, right before he punched him, he called August a freak, so that could definitely be our answer. Jack Will is having a problem with himself because he can't decide who he should be friends with? No, because if you remember up here, he's like upset that about what he did to August. So he wants to be friends with August. And then Summer and August are in a fight about who they let sit at their lunch table. And that's definitely not true because we know that they let anybody sit at their lunch table. What type of conflict is this? So we're looking here. So our answer is Julian and Jack Will got in a fight because Julian called August a freak. So is that a character versus self, character versus character, character versus nature, or character versus society? So that's 2 characters having a problem with each other. So that's character versus character. Now I need to find evidence to prove my answer. So again, it says, what evidence proves your answer to part A? So, You don't have to be friends with that freak if you don't want to, and that's when I punched him. So that would definitely prove why he got mad at him and why he punched him, and that they're in a fight. Let's see if there are any other ones. Me and Jack had the science fair project idea we wanted to work on together. That doesn't really prove why they're in a fight. I was talking to Julian about August. That would prove why August and Jack Will are in a fight, but nothing about Julian and Jack Will. Summer Dawson had always been a bit out there, but this was too much. Nope. So definitely this would be my answer. So now again, I did all of these with you, so there's no reason to get these first 3 incorrect. Everybody should have 100 on that part. All right, so now we're going to start reading. So I want to point out that the beginning of this is done in letters, emails, Facebook, and texts. So you'll notice me kind of saying the dates and times and things like that. All right? Letters, emails, Facebooks, and texts. December 18th. Dear Mr. Tushman, I am very, very sorry about punching Julian. It was very, very wrong of me to do that. I am writing the letter to tell him that too. If that's okay, I would rather not tell you why I did it because it doesn't really make it right anyway. Also, I'd rather not make Julian get in trouble for having said something he should not have said. Very sincerely, Jack Will. December 18th. Dear Julian, I am very, very sorry for hitting you. It was wrong of me. I hope you're okay. I hope your grown-up tooth grows in fast. Mine always do. Sincerely, Jack. December 26th. Dear Jack, thank you so much for your letter. One thing I learned about being a middle school director for 20 years, there are almost always more than two sides to every story. Although I don't know the detail, I have an inkling about what might have sparked the confrontation with Julian. While nothing justifies striking another student, ever, I know good friends are sometimes worth defending. This has been a tough year for a lot of students, as the first year of middle school usually is. Keep up the good work and keep being the fine boy we always know you are. All the best, Lawrence Tushman, Middle School Director. Okay, so now we're in emails. To Lawrence Tushman, from Melissa Albans. That is Julian's mom. And then on the email are also John Will and Amanda Will. Subject, Jack Will. It's about Jack. Dear Mr. Tushman, I spoke with Amanda and John Will yesterday, and they expressed their regret at Jack's having punched our son Julian in the mouth. I'm writing to let you know that my husband and I support your decision to allow Jack to return to Beecher Prep after a 2-day suspension, although I think hitting a child would be valid grounds for expulsion in other schools. I agree such extreme measures aren't warranted here. We've known the Will family since our boys were in kindergarten, and are confident that every measure will be taken to ensure that this does not happen again. To that end, I wonder if Jack's unexpectedly violent behavior might have been a result of too much pressure being placed on his young shoulders. I am speaking specifically of the new child with special needs who both Jack and Julian were asked to befriend. In retrospect, and having now seen the child in question at various school functions and in the class pictures, I think it may have been too much to ask of our children to be able to process all that. Certainly, when Julian mentioned that he was having a hard time befriending the boy, we told him he was off the hook in that regard. We think the transition to middle school is hard enough without having to place great burdens or hardships on our young, impressionable minds. I should also mention that, as a member of the school board, I was a little disturbed that more consideration was not given during the child's application process to the fact that Beecher Prep is not an inclusion school. There are many parents, myself included, who question the decision to let this child into our school at all. At the very least, I am somewhat troubled that this child has not been held to the same stringent application processes, i.e., an interview, that the rest of the incoming middle school students were. Best, Melissa Perper Albans. So I just want to point out, or I want to see what you guys are thinking. After reading this really kind of irritates me because this is Julian's mom, and I'm wondering if Julian's mom's thoughts have been like a reason why Julian acts the way he does towards August. Because as we know, Julian isn't very nice towards August, and his mom isn't being very nice about it either. Next email. Now this one's back to Julian's mom from Lawrence Tushman. Dear Mrs. Albans, thank you for your email outlining your concerns. Were I not convinced that Jack Will is extremely sorry for his actions, and were I not confident that he would not repeat those actions, rest assured I would not be allowing him back to Beecher Prep. As for your other concerns regarding our new student August, please note that he does not have special needs. He is neither disabled, handicapped, nor developmentally delayed in any way, so there was no reason to assume anyone would take issue with his admittance to Beecher Prep, whether it is an inclusion school or not. In terms of the application process, the admissions director and I both felt it well within our rights to hold the interview off site at August's home for reasons that are obvious. We felt this slight break in protocol was warranted, but in no way prejudicial, in one way or another, to the application review. August is an extremely good student and has secured a friendship with some truly exceptional young people, including Jack Will. At the beginning of the school year, when I enlisted certain students to be a welcoming committee to August, I did so as a way of easing his transition into a school environment. I did not think asking these children to be especially kind to a new student would place any extra burdens or hardships on them. In fact, I thought it would teach them a thing or two about empathy, friendship, and loyalty. As it turns out, Jack Will didn't need to learn any of those virtues. He already had them in abundance. Thank you again for being in touch. Sincerely, Lawrence Tushman. Okay, so now this one goes to Melissa. So that's Julian's mom, and it's from John Will. So that's from Jack Will's dad. Hi, Melissa. Thank you for being so understanding about this incident with Jack. He is, as you know, extremely sorry for his actions. I hope you do accept to our offer to pay Julian's dental bills. We are very touched by your concern regarding Jack's friendship with August. Please know we have asked Jack if he felt any undue pressure about this, and the answer was a resolute no. He enjoys August's company and feels like he has made a good friend. Hope you have a happy new year. John and Amanda Will. Okay, so now the adult emails are over, and we're going to move into Facebook and texting. Hi, August. Jackalope Will wants to be friends with you on Facebook. Jackalope Will, 32 mutual friends, thanks the Facebook team. To Augie Doggy Pullman at email.com. Subject, sorry. Message. Hey, August, it's me, Jack Will. I notice I'm not your friends list anymore, and I hope you friend me again, because I'm really sorry. I just wanted to say that. Sorry. I know why you're mad at me. I'm sorry. I didn't mean the stuff I said. I was so stupid. I hope you can forgive me. Hope you can be friends again, Jack. One new text message from August, December 31st, 4:47. Got your message. You know why I'm mad at you now? Did Summer tell you? One new message from Jack Will, December 31st, 4:49. She told me Bleeding Scream as a hint, but I didn't get it at first. Then I remember seeing Bleeding Scream in homeroom on Halloween. Didn't know it was you. Thought you were coming as Boba Fett. Text message from August, December 31st, 4:51 p.m. I changed my mind last minute. Did you really punch Julian? One new text message from Jack Will, December 31st, 4:54 p.m. Yeah, I punched him. Knocked out a tooth in the back. Baby tooth. New text message from August, December 31st, 4:55. Why'd you punch him? From Jack Will, December 31st at 4:56 p.m. I don't know. Text message from August, December 31st at 4:58. Liar. I bet he said something about me, right? One new text message from Jack Will, 5:02, December 31st. He's a jerk, but I was a jerk too. Really, really, really sorry for what I said, dude. Okay? Can we be friends again? One new text message from August, December 31st, 5:03. Okay. One new text message from Jack Will, 5:04. Awesome. One new text message from August, 5:10. LOL. Yes, dude, we're friends again. All right. So that was kind of a conflict too, right? Jack Will and August were in a conflict because Jack Will said those mean things about August and August was mad at him. Then Jack Will apologized. That was the solution. And now they're friends again. So now they're back from winter break. This is our next chapter. Despite what Mr. Tushman said, there was no clean slate when I went back to school in January. In fact, things were totally weird from the second I got to my locker in the morning. I'm next to Amos, who's always been a pretty straight up kid. And I was like, yo, what's up? And he basically just nodded a half hello and closed his locker door and left. I was like, okay, that was bizarre. And then I said, hey, what's up, to Henry, who didn't even bother half smiling, but just looked away. Okay, something's up. Just by two people in less than 5 minutes. Not that anyone's counting. I thought I'd try one more time with Tristan. And boom, same thing. He actually looked nervous, like he was afraid of talking to me. I've got the form of the plague now, is what I thought. This is Julian's payback. And that's pretty much how it went all morning. Nobody talked to me. Not true. The girls were totally normal with me. And August talked to me, of course. And actually, I have to say, both Maxes said hello, which made me feel kind of bad for never ever hanging out with them in the 5 years we've been in their class. I hoped lunch would be better, but it wasn't. I sat down at my usual table with Luca and Isaiah. I guess I thought they weren't in the super popular group, but were kind of middle of the road jock kids, that I'd be safe with them. But they barely nodded when I said hello. Then, when our table was called, they got their lunches and they never came back. I saw them find their way over to the other end of the cafeteria. They weren't at Julian's table, but they were near him, like on the fringe of popularity. So anyway, I'd been ditched. I knew table switching was something that happened in 5th grade, but I never thought it would happen to me. It felt really awful being at the table by myself. It felt like everyone was watching me. It also made me feel like I had no friends. I decided to skip lunch and go read in the library. The War. It was Charlotte who had the inside scoop on why everyone was dissing me. I found a note inside my locker at the end of the day. Meet me in room 301 right after school. Come by yourself, Charlotte. She was already inside the room when I walked in. Sup, I said. Hey, she said. She went over to the door and looked left and right, and then closed the door and locked it from the inside. Then she turned to face me and started biting her nail as she talked. Look, I feel bad about what's going on, and I just want to tell you that I know. Promise you won't tell anyone? I talked to you? Promise. So Julian had this huge party over winter break, she said. I mean, huge. My sister's friend had had her sweet 16 at the same place last year. There were like 200 people there. So, I mean, it's a huge place. Yeah, and? Yeah, and, well, pretty sure everybody in the whole grade was there. Not everybody, I joked. Right, not everybody, duh. But, like, even parents were there. Like my parents were there. Julian's mom is the vice president of the school board, right? So she knows a lot of people. Anyway, so basically, what happened at the party was Julian went around telling everyone that you punched him because you had emotional problems. What? And that you would have gotten expelled, but his parents begged the school not to expel you. What? And that none of it would have happened in the first place if Tushman hadn't forced you to be friends with Augie. He said his mom thinks that you, quote unquote, snapped under the pressure. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. No one bought into that, right? I said. She shrugged. That's not even the point. The point is he's really popular. And, my mom heard that his mom is actually pushing the school to review Augie's application to Beecher. Can she do that? It's about Beecher being an inclusion school. That's the type of school that mixes normal kids with special needs. That's just stupid. Augie doesn't have special needs. Yeah, but she's saying that if the school is changing the way they usually do things in some ways, but they're not changing anything. Yeah, they did. Didn't you notice they changed the theme of the New Year art show? In the past, 5th graders painted self-portraits, but this year they made us do those ridiculous self-portraits as animals, remember? So big freaking deal. I know, I'm not saying I agree, I'm just saying that's what she's saying. I know. This is just so messed up. I know. Anyway, Julian said that he thinks being friends with Augie is bringing you down, and that for your own good, you need to stop hanging out with him so much. And if you start losing all your friends, it'll be like a big wake-up call. So basically, for your own good, he's going to stop being your friend completely. Newsflash, I stopped being his friend completely first. Yeah, but he's convinced all the boys to stop being your friend, for your own good. That's why nobody's talking to you. You're talking to me. Yeah, well, this is more of a boy thing, she explained. The girls are staying neutral, except Savannah's group, because they're going out with Julian's group. But to everybody else, it's really a boy war. I nodded. She tilted her head to one side and pouted like she felt sorry for me. Is it okay that I told you about all this? She said. Yeah, of course. I don't care who talks to me or not. I lied. This is all just so dumb. She nodded. Hey, does Augie know any of this? Of course not. At least not from me. And Summer? I don't think so. Look, I better go. Just so you know, my mom thinks Julian's mom is a total idiot. She said that she thinks people like her are more concerned about what their kids' class pictures look like than doing the right thing. You heard about the photoshopping, right? Yeah, that was just sick. Totally, she answered, nodding. Anyway, I better go. I just wanted you to know what was up and stuff. Thanks, Charlotte. I'll let you know if I hear anything else, she said. Before she went out, she looked left and right outside the door to make sure nobody saw her leaving. I guess even though she was neutral, she didn't want to be seen with me. Switching tables. The next day at lunch, stupid me, I sat down at the table with Tristan, Nino, and Pablo. I thought maybe they were safe because they weren't really considered popular, but they weren't playing D&D at recess either. They were sort of in-betweeners, and at first I thought I scored because they were basically too nice to acknowledge my presence when I walked over to the table. They all said, "Hey," though I could tell they looked at each other. But then the same thing happened yesterday. Our lunch table was called, they got their food, and then they headed toward a new table on the other side of the cafeteria. Unfortunately, Mrs. G, who was the lunch teacher that day, saw what happened and chased after them. "That's not allowed, boys," she scolded them loudly. "This is not that kind of school. You get right back to your table." Oh, great. Like that was going to help. Before they could be forced to sit down at the table, I got up with my tray and walked away really fast. I could hear Mrs. G call my name, but I pretended not to hear and kept walking to the other side of the cafeteria, behind the lunch counter. "Sit with us, Jack." It was Summer. She and August were sitting at their table, and they were both waving me over. Why I didn't sit with August the first day of school. Okay, so I'm a total hypocrite. I know. That very first day of school, I remember seeing August in the cafeteria. Everybody was looking at him, talking about him. Back then, no one was used to his face or even knew that he was coming to Beecher, so it was a total shocker for a lot of people to see him there the first day of school. Most kids were even afraid to get near him. So when I saw him going through the cafeteria ahead of me, I knew he'd have no one to sit with, but I just couldn't bring myself to sit with him. I'd been hanging out with him all morning long because we had so many classes together, and I guess I was kind of wanting a little normal time to chill with other kids. So when I saw him move to a table on the other side of the lunch counter, I purposely found a table as far away from there as I could find. I sat down with Isaiah and Luca, even though I'd never met them before, and we talked about baseball the whole time. And I played baseball with them at recess because my lunch table, and they became my lunch table from then on. I heard Summer had sat down with August, which surprised me. I knew for a fact she wasn't one of the kids Tushman had talked to about being friends with Augie, so I knew that she was just doing it to be nice. And that was pretty brave, I thought. So now, here I was sitting with Summer and August, and they were being totally nice to me as always. I filled them in about everything Charlotte had told me, except the whole big part about my having snapped under the pressure of being August's friend, or the part about Julian's mom saying that August had special needs, or the part about the school board. I guess all I really told them about was how Julian had a holiday party and managed to hold grade against me. "It just feels so weird," I said. "To not have people talking to you, pretending you don't even exist." Augie started smiling. "You think?" he said sarcastically. "Welcome to my world." So now Jack Will is kind of seeing how August has felt for a while. All right, we're getting into the conflict. Sides. "So here are the official sides," said Summer at lunch the next day. She pulled out a folded piece of loose leaf paper and opened it. It had 3 columns of names. Jack's side: Jack, August, Reed, Max G, Maxwell, Max W. Julian's side: Miles, Henry, Amos, Simon, Tristan, Pablo, Nino, Isaiah, Luca, Jake, Toland, Roman, Ben, Emmanuel, Zeke, and Tommaso. Neutrals: Malik, Remo, Jose, Leaf, Ram, Ivan, Russell. "Where'd you get this?" said Augie, looking over my shoulder as I read the list. "Charlotte made it," Summer answered quickly. "She gave it to me last period. She said she thought you should know who was on your side, Jack." "Yeah, not many people, that's for sure," I said. "Reed is," she said, "and the 2 Maxes." "Great, the nerds are on my side." "Don't be mean," said Summer. "I think Charlotte likes you, by the way." "Yeah, I know." "Are you going to ask her out?" "Are you kidding? I can't. Now that everybody's acting like I have the plague." The second I said it, I realized I shouldn't have said it. There was this awkward moment of silence. I looked at Augie. "It's okay," he said. "I knew about that." "Sorry, dude," I said. "I didn't know they called it the plague, though," he said. "I figured it was more like the cheese touch or something." "Oh, yeah, like in Diary of a Wimpy Kid." I nodded. "The plague actually sounds cooler," he joked. "Like maybe somebody could catch the Black Death of ugliness." As he said it, he made air quotes. "I think it's awful," said Summer. But Augie shrugged while taking a big sip of his juice box. "Anyway, I'm not asking Charlotte out. I said. My mom thinks we're all too young to be dating anyway, she answered. What if Reed asked you out? I said. Would you go? I could tell she was surprised. No, she said. I'm just asking, I laughed. She shook her head and smiled. Why? What do you know? Nothing, I'm just asking, I said. I actually agree with my mom, she says. I do think we're a little bit too young to be dating. I mean, I don't even see what the rush is. Yeah, I agree, said August, which is kind of a shame, with all those babes who keep throwing themselves at me, and stuff. He said this in such a funny way that milk I was drinking came out of my nose when I laughed, which made us all totally crack up. August's house. It was already the middle of January, and we still hadn't even chosen the science fair project we were going to work on. I guess I kept putting it off because I just didn't want to do it. Finally, August was like, dude, we have to do this. So we went to his house after school. I was really nervous because I didn't know if August had ever told his parents about what we now call the Halloween incident. Turns out, the dad wasn't even home, and the mom was out running errands. I'm pretty sure from the 2 seconds I'd spent talking to her that Augie had never mentioned a thing about it. She was super cool and friendly toward me. When I first walked into Augie's room, I was like, whoa, Augie, you have a serious Star Wars addiction. He had ledges full of Star Wars miniatures and a huge The Empire Strikes Back poster on his wall. I know, right? He laughed. He sat down on the rolling chair next to his desk and plopped down on a beanbag chair in the corner. That's when his dog waddled into the room right up to me. He was on your holiday card, I said, letting the dog sniff my hand. When I started petting her, she basically rolled over on her back. She wants you to rub her tummy, said August. Okay, this is the cutest dog I've ever seen, I said, rubbing her stomach. I know, right? She's the best dog in the world. Aren't you, girlie? As soon as she heard Augie's voice say that, the dog started wagging her tail and went over to him. Who's my little girlie? Who's my little girlie? Augie was saying as she licked him all over the face. I wish I had a dog, I said. My parents think our apartment's too small. I started looking around at all the stuff in the room when he turned on the computer. Hey, you've got an Xbox 360? Can we play? Dude, we're here to work on the science fair project. Do you have a Halo? Of course I have Halo. Please, can we play? He had logged into the Beecher website and was now scrolling down to Miss Rubin's teacher page, through a list of science fair projects. Can you see from there? He said. I sighed and went to sit on the little stool that was right next to him. Cool iMac, I said. What kind of computer do you have? Dude, I don't have my own room, much less my own computer. My parents have an ancient Dell that's practically dead. Okay, how about this one? He said, turning the screen in my direction so I would look. I made a quick scan of the screen and my eyes literally started blurring. Making a sun clock, he said. That sounds kind of cool. I leaned back. Can we just make a volcano? Everyone makes volcanoes. Duh, because it's easy, I said, petting Daisy again. What about how to make crystal spikes out of Epsom salt? Sounds boring, I answered. So, why'd you call her Daisy? He didn't even look up from the screen. My sister named her. I wanted to call her Darth. Actually, technically speaking, her full name is Darth Daisy, but we never really call her that. Darth Daisy. That's funny. Hi, Darth Daisy, I said to the dog, who rolled over on her back again for me to rub her tummy. Okay, this one is the one, said August, pointing to the picture on the screen of a bunch of potatoes with wires poking out of them. How to build an organic battery made of potatoes. Now that's cool. It says here you could power a lamp with it. We could call it the Spud lamp or something. What do you think? Dude, that sounds way too hard. You know I suck at science. Shut up, you do not. Yeah, I do. I got a 54 on my last test. I suck at science. No, you don't. And that was only because we were still fighting and I wasn't helping you. I can help you now. This is a good project, Jack. We've got to do it. Fine, whatever, I shrugged. Just then, there was a knock at the door. A teenage girl with long, dark, wavy hair poked her head outside the door. She wasn't expecting to see me. Oh, hey, she said to both of us. Hey, Via, said August, looking back at the computer screen. Via, this is Jack. Jack, this is Via. Hey, I said, nodding hello. Hey, she said, looking at me carefully. I knew the second that Augie said my name that he had told her about the stuff I had said about him. I could tell from the way she looked at me. In fact, the way she looked at me made me think she remembered me from that day at Carvel on Amherst Avenue all those years ago. Augie, I have a friend I want you to meet, okay? She said. He's coming over in a few minutes. Is he your new boyfriend? August teased. Via kicked the bottom of his chair. Just be nice, she said, and left the room. Dude, your sister's hot, I said. I know. She hates me, right? You told her about the Halloween incident. Yeah. Yeah, she hates me, or yeah, you told her about Halloween. Both. The boyfriend. 2 minutes later, the sister came back with this guy named Justin. Seemed like a cool enough dude, longish hair, little round glasses. He was carrying a big, long shiny silver case that ended in a sharp point on the end. Justin, this is my little brother August, said Via, and that's Jack. Hey guys, said Justin, shaking her hands. He seemed a little nervous. I guess maybe it was because he was meeting August for the first time. Sometimes I forget what a shock it is when you first meet him. Cool room. Are you Via's boyfriend? Augie said mischievously, and his sister pulled his cap down over his face. What's in your case? I said. A machine gun? Huh, answered the boyfriend. That's funny. No, it's a fiddle. Justin's a fiddler, said Via. He's in a Zydeco band. What the heck is a Zydeco band? Said Augie, looking at me. It's a type of music, said Justin, like Creole music. What's Creole? I said. You should tell people that it's a machine gun, said Augie. Nobody would ever mess with you. Ha, I guess you're right, Justin said, nodding and tucking his hair behind his ears. Creole's the kind of music they play in Louisiana, he said to me. Are you from Louisiana? No, he answered, pushing up his glasses. I'm from Brooklyn. I don't know why this part made me want to laugh. Come on, Justin, said Via, pulling him by the hand. Let's go hang out in my room. Okay, see you guys later. Bye, he said. Bye, bye. As soon as they left the room, Augie looked at me smiling. I'm from Brooklyn, I said, and we both started laughing hysterically. All right, so today make sure you reread this so you know the part of the story you're supposed to be answering the question about. What is the main conflict in that part of the story? What type of conflict? And what is your evidence? Then press submit. All right, I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye.